This is Miss Dim's lesson on grade 8 math. So ready your notes, ready your pens as we go through learning factoring polynomials. But before anything else, I would like to remind you that there are times that I would be asking questions. And if it comes, I would like you to pause the video, think over of what could be the answer, then unpause if you're ready to proceed. In this video, we are going to focus on factoring general trinomials with a leading coefficient greater than 1, which includes grouping technique. Are you ready? Let's have this first. Can you classify the following trinomials? You are given 6 general trinomials here. Put them inside these 2 bags. Now, the bag at the left should have the general trinomials with a leading coefficient greater than 1. And the bag at the right should have the general trinomials with a leading coefficient equals to 1. By the way, A symbolizes leading coefficient. Try drawing your answers on your notes. Pause. Do you have the answers? Great! As you can see, the bag at the right has the general trinomials with a leading coefficient of 1. And we know how to factor those, right? But how about the bag at the left? We have here the general trinomials with a leading coefficient greater than 1. Do you want to know how to factor these? Let's try this. The general trinomial with a leading coefficient greater than 1 is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. A here is the numerical coefficient of the leading term, ax squared. B is the numerical coefficient of x, which is in the middle term, and c is our constant. A, b, and c here are all symbolizing numbers. We can factor this with the following steps. Of course, we check first if the given trinomial is not a perfect square trinomial and has a leading coefficient greater than 1. That's the time that we can multiply the leading numerical coefficient A and the constant C. Then we find the factor pair that sums up to the middle term. Then we rewrite the given trinomial as a polynomial with 4 terms, replacing the middle term with the 2 factors. And then we use grouping technique. And then finally, we write each factor in the pairs as the last term of the binomial factors. Let's have some examples. First, we have 2d squared plus 9d plus 4. According to the steps, we have to multiply 2, which is the leading coefficient, and 4, which is constant. So 2 times 4 is 8. And then we will find the factors of 8, in which sum is equals to positive 9. Take note, it is positive 9. So we know that 8 times 1 is 8, and 8 plus 1 is 9. So therefore, we are going to use 8 and 1. Next, we have to rewrite the entire given polynomial into a polynomial with 4 terms, replacing the middle term 9d with 8d and 1d, or simply d. So we have 2d squared plus 8d plus 1d, or simply d, plus 4. And then we group the terms in relation to their GCMF. So we'll group these 2 and this one too. So this is 2d squared plus 8d, and close it in a parenthesis, and then d plus 4. Okay, then we have to factor out the GCMF. So the common factor of 2 and 8 is 2, and then the variable is d. So the remaining quotient is 2 divided by 2 is 1, d squared divided by d is d. Copy the sign plus, 8 divided by 2 is 4. Then d divided by d is simply 1. and 4 times 1 is 4. Then plus d plus 4 has no GCMF other than 1. So I'll just put 1 there because we will do something with that. And the remaining here is d plus 4. So as you can see, d plus 4 is common. So we can write d plus 4 as our first factor. Then the second factor is 2d plus 1. Therefore, the quantity of d plus 4 times the quantity of 2d plus 1 is our factored form. That's it. Then let's have 2c squared minus 7c plus 3. And then we will multiply the leading coefficient with the third term, which is our constant. 2 times 3, that is 6. Then we will find the factors of 6, which sum is equal to negative 7 in the middle term. So negative 6 times negative 1, that is positive 6. And we know that negative 6 plus negative 1 is negative 7. Therefore, we are going to use negative 6 and negative 1. Then we can rewrite the entire polynomial with a polynomial with 4 terms, replacing the middle term negative 7c with negative 6c and negative 1c. So that would become 2c squared minus 6c plus negative 1c or negative c plus 3. So I will group these two and these also. So we put them inside a parenthesis, 2c squared minus 6c plus, we have negative c plus 3. Let's factor out the GCMF of each group. 2 and 6, the common is 2, and the variable c. So the remaining quotient is 2 divided by 2 is 1, c squared divided by c is c. Copy the sign minus, 6 divided by 2, that is 3. C divided by c is simply 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Then plus, take note inside the parenthesis, c here is negative. So let's make it positive by factoring out negative 1. The remaining quotient is negative c divided by negative 1 is positive c. Positive 3 divided by negative 1, that is negative 3. So again, notice c minus 3 here is common. Therefore, our first factor is c minus 3 times the quantity of the remaining 2c minus 1. That's it. Okay, let's have 6g squared plus g minus 2. First, let's multiply the leading coefficient 6 with the last term, negative 2. Take note of the negative 2. So we have 6 times negative 2, and that is negative 12. Then let's determine the factors of negative 12, in which sum is equal to positive 1. Take note of the positive. Therefore, the bigger digit of the factor pair should have positive sign, and the sum should be equals to 1. So we have 4 times negative 3, that's negative 12. And we know also that 4 plus negative 3 is positive 1. Therefore, we are going to use 4 and negative 3 here. And then we rewrite the whole polynomial into a polynomial with 4 digits, replacing the middle term with the 4 and negative 3. So that is 6g squared. And then we replace the middle term with positive 4g plus negative 3g minus 2. Then we will group 6g squared plus 4g together plus negative 3g minus 2. The common factor of 6 and 4 is 2, and for the variable it's g. So the remaining quotient, 6 divided by 2 is 3, g squared divided by g is g, plus 4 divided by 2, that's 2, g divided by g is simply 1. Then copy plus negative 3g minus 2. Let's make it positive. I will factor out negative 1. The remaining is positive 3g, negative 2 divided by negative 1, that's positive 2. So as you can see, the two of them are the same. We can factor them out. So we can write 3g plus 2 as the first factor, and the second factor is 2g minus 1. That's it. Next, let's have 2r squared minus 2r minus 9. The second and the third term are negatives. First, let's multiply the leading term and the last term, that's 2 times negative 9. Again, take note of the negative, that's negative 18. Then we will find factors of negative 18, which sum is negative 2. Therefore, the factors of negative 18, the bigger digit should have the negative sign. We can have negative 6 times 3, right? That's negative 18. And we know negative 6 plus 3, that is negative 2. So we are going to use negative 6 and 3 here. So if we rewrite the polynomial, we can have 2r squared minus 6r plus 3r minus 9. And then when we group this, it becomes the quantity of 2r squared minus 6r plus we have 3r minus 9. The common factors of these is 2r. The remaining quotient is r minus 3. Copy the sign plus. 3 and 9, the GCF is 3. So we factor out 3. Then the remaining quotient is r minus 3. So as you can see, this is common. So we can write r minus 3 as the first factor of the polynomial. And the second factor is 2r plus 3. So that's it. By the way, if we want to check if the factors that we have are correct, we can simply use the FOIL method. We multiply the two factors, and then we can see that the product would be the given polynomial. Did you understand what we have discussed? Let's apply what you have learned. Which of the following is the factored form of the given polynomial 2m squared minus 7m plus 6? You are given 4 choices. Try it on your own. Pause. Have the answer? Great! We have the quantity of 2m minus 3 times the quantity of m minus 2. Next, which of the following is the factored form of the given polynomial 3b squared plus 10b plus 8? You are given 4 choices. Try it on your own. Pause. Do you have the answer? Yes, it's the quantity of 3b plus 4 times the quantity of b plus 2. Lastly, what is the factored form of the given polynomial 3t squared minus t minus 10? This time, there are no choices. Try it on your own. Pause. Do you have the answer? Great! Remember, before using any other methods of factoring, check first if there are any common factors and use GCMF. Make sure that the trinomial is not a perfect square trinomial and has a leading coefficient greater than 1. And always remember that there are trinomials that cannot be factored. If you cannot factor it out using perfect square trinomials, GCMF, or the general trinomials greater than 1 or equals to 1, then the trinomials cannot be factored. Just leave it be. Thank you so much for learning through with me factoring polynomials. Did you take notes? Did you understand? Do you have any confusions? If you have, you can replay and then learn it out again. Until next time!